Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our new webinar series, Laboratory Talks. Today, we're going to take an in-depth look at flow sciences capabilities with our two on-site laboratories at our manufacturing facility here in Leland, North Carolina. We are going to be recording today's webinar sessions, and then we'll be sending that link out for you to download and save, share with your colleagues when the webinars have concluded today, along with a survey. I encourage you, if you've participated in our webinars before, filling out that survey actually helps us to create better content and new topics for upcoming webinars. So please fill that out. If you take a few minutes to do that, we would greatly appreciate that. We do have everyone muted today, and if you do have questions, I'm going to be taking time at the end of the presentation, which should last about 25 to 30 minutes, and going over any comments or questions you may have. So if you want to use your chat box, I'll be looking at those again at the conclusion of the presentation, and then we will provide you with some contact information. So if you do have questions later, or if a colleague watches the presentation and they ask you a question on how to get a hold of us after the webinar is over today. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the first of a two-part series. So today, again, in-depth capabilities, and our second part, which will be in August, and I'll give you the details of that at the end, is going to be on our surrogate powder and our ability to do a surrogate powder study on your custom enclosure or custom enclosures at our facility before we ship that product to you. So our Leland, North Carolina facility is a 45,000 square foot all-encompassing facility. So this is our manufacturing plant. It's also our main headquarters and our offices. So if you're getting a hold of us for a quote or you have a question about potentially designing a containment unit with us, everyone that you're going to work with is in this facility. And this makes our process very streamlined. It makes our flow sciences team a great partnership within itself, as well as with you. So we're going to be designing your equipment, manufacturing your equipment, assembling your equipment, and testing your equipment all in one building. And that, again, makes everything very efficient. It allows you to be a part of that process and part of our team from start to finish, and allows us to work really easily and efficiently with each other in case we do have questions or design changes that need to be made along the way. We're all right there with each other for every step of that process. So our labs, we have two labs in our facility. We recently expanded to two in 2020, and we'll talk about how that happened. But our labs play a critical role in every part of our production process. So as soon as you reach out to us, whether it's a phone call or through our website and our contact form, and you have a containment need, our lab team is being involved from the very beginning. So when we start talking to you about what your process looks like, what your need is, what your containment level is, and we identify that you need a custom product from us, our lab team is going to be involved at the very beginning to ensure that we've asked all the proper questions, we've evaluated all the potential challenges we're going to face, so that when we are at the point of engineering, designing your containment unit, we're on the path for success from the very beginning. And then they remain involved through the entire process, through post-production and through our certification validation, and then beyond. So our lab team is going to become very familiar with you and your product, so that they can support you once the product is actually at your facility and on your site and in full use. And our labs have been developed in that way because they've been driven by you, the customer. So our lab expansion last year actually took place due to a customer need. We have used our labs for product development. We've established that we can produce sustainable and reproducible results over and over again. And we've continued to develop and grow with the industry. So not only has your containment needs changed, and your requests of us have become more demanding for the containment levels we're looking for, large scale processes, larger pieces of equipment to be contained, we've adapted and developed to make sure that we can continue to deliver quality containment solutions for your custom needs. So our labs have been driven in that capacity to make sure that they're fully able to support what the industry currently is in need of. In addition to that, we're constantly working with our third-party partners in the industry, whether it's from a cleaning vendor, or it's a surrogate powder vendor, or we're working with an original equipment manufacturer, we're constantly working to make sure that not only are we delivering quality products that provide the containment level you're looking for to encompass the process you have, we want to make sure that if you do need to use a powder transfer option with perhaps RTP port, that our unit is going to be compatible to do that, so that you're not trying to solve multiple travel problems with multiple vendors. We're going to all work together in a partnership to solve your containment need. And we do a lot of that work in our laboratories on site because one, they're available, and two, they're right there where the process is going to take place for the manufacturing of your containment solution. The evolution of our labs, again, have grown with your requests and the industry as a whole. So when the industry said we need a simple powder containment device, Flow Sciences delivered the simple powder containment device, and we were one of the first to do that. As the industry has developed into larger scale processes that need full containment, we've developed larger scale containment units that can encompass the entire process. And when the industry said last year, we need to build a manufacturing containment solution for a large scale process that's 11 feet tall, we delivered. So our lab obviously originally was not designed to do such a large scale work. So instead of saying we can't do that, or we can build the unit, but we're not able to test it in the right setting and sending it somewhere else for that, we built a new lab within our own facility in Leland, North Carolina. So the picture to the far right is actually our new larger scale lab that was able to accommodate that project. It's a clean room lab, and it's right there, right off our manufacturing floor. So as things come off assembly and they're ready for certification and validation, they can move right into that lab and go through that process. And any additional requests that you may have had that we would identify early in the process of discovery. And we're going to look at what those other things might be. So our original lab is our surrogate powder and product development lab. So you can see here in the photo, this is actually a surrogate powder study we were doing on a custom unit. And by having the second lab for our routine day-to-day testing and validations that we have to do as things come off assembly, we can use our original lab to do longer scale projects. So if we do have a surrogate powder study that we have to perform for a client, those studies can take many days. They can actually go into 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the length of the study and the in-depthness that we're looking for, how many processes we may need to evaluate, how many steps, how many operators we've determined are necessary to get the results that you're looking for. So this allows us to have that set up over a longer period of time without having to move it, take it down and put it up the next day, relocate it for an afternoon to do a certification on another piece of equipment. So we're able to keep those things set up long term, which allows a nice ease of process to make sure that we're being efficient and we're having that, again, that replicability every day to have it set up in the same capacity for your surrogate powder test. We also use this lab in combination with our new lab for product development. So again, the ability to leave something set up for an extended period of time has been really critical to allow our product development process to be even smoother and more efficient than it has been in the past. We currently are working on some new standard products that we're excited to announce before the end of the year. And we have several of those currently sitting in this lab as we're continuing to make modifications and improvements to them. And the great thing about that being right in the facility is that not only does the lab staff have access to that equipment, but the engineering team. And they work hand in hand to work through challenges from where is the HEPA filter located so we have an easy change out process for you, to ergonomic concerns, to process flow concerns. So all of those things are troubleshooted and worked through in the laboratory hand in hand with all the teams that need to be involved. And again, this lab that we currently are using for product development allows us to do that for a longer period of time without, again, moving the equipment, bringing it back into the lab, putting it back in storage, bringing it back into the lab. We're able to just leave it in there and continue to work on it day to day until we've delivered that quality finished product that we would like to put out to the market for your containment needs. Our new lab is our routine validation and certification lab. So you can see in the photo there on the right, that's one of the larger scale manufacturing containment needs that was presented to us that we were able to deliver on. So we were able to encompass that entire process in the room and perform the certification and validation on that. So we will use this lab, whether it's multiple times a week or multiple times a day, as equipment that's custom, comes off the line. We're taking that into the lab for the required certification and validation testing. So we do a lot of work through here on a more routine basis and things that are coming in and going back out so that they can be delivered to the clients efficiently. So they go right off the manufacturing floor into this lab, go through their testing, and then they leave to be shipped to you once we've established that everything is in line with your request. So the laboratory staff, I said, is involved in discovery. So if you do come to us and it's identified that you need a custom containment solution, and we're going to be developing a piece of equipment to encompass maybe a particular process or a specialized piece of equipment, be it's the scale of the unit, we're going to be having discovery meetings, and you're going to be filling out forms. So you'll be filling out a discovery form. You may be asked to fill out a carbon form or a surrogate powder form, all of which is going to provide critical information to not only the sales team and your project manager, but also the engineering staff and the lab team. So the lab team works hand in hand with every aspect of this process to make sure that at the end of the assembly process, when that unit is ready to come to them to be validated, that we haven't missed anything, that we've looked through all of that, because they're the ones that are going to be doing that certification for you. And we want to make sure that we've troubleshot any potential challenge along the process before we're at final assembly and it's sitting in there for testing. So they may be involved in a discovery meeting, they may be involved in some phone calls with you, or they may be consulted by the sales manager just to make sure that we've covered everything and we've asked all the right questions of our clients. We may be asking you what additional certifications you might be looking for. So if you want something beyond our routine validation and certification that's required based on the type of unit that you've requested, we would want to establish that early in the process. And the reason for that is we want to make sure when the unit is ready, when it's fully assembled and it's ready to come into the lab before we ship it to your facility, that we can accommodate every request that you may have, whether it's training, it's additional testing, or you're looking for potential additional operating procedures beyond our custom equipment manual. So anything like that, we're going to talk about early in the process with you in pre-production to make sure that by the time we reach production and post-production, that we have that in our schedule and on our radar to make sure that we're delivering not only a unit to you, but all supplemental pieces that are going to make that successful for you when it arrives at your facility. So I mentioned earlier, we do a lot of work with our partners in the industry, and one of those is original equipment manufacturers. So we do a lot of work to help design RTP ports, alpha ports. We have designed a continuous liner system that's unique to Flow Sciences, waste disposal chutes. So if you're looking for a specific type of valve, maybe it's a butterfly valve to work with your powder transfer process at your facility, but you need containment for the process prior to that, we've worked with a lot of original equipment manufacturers in our labs, in our facility, to make sure whether it's a custom option that's just for Flow Sciences, or it's an option that's available to the industry as a whole, that we're designing units that are compatible with those common use products, so that, again, you're not working with multiple manufacturers to try and solve one containment question. We've already thought of those things, and we have those partnerships in place. So if you are utilizing one of those pieces, we can adapt that to our custom unit that we may be designing for you. During production, we may utilize the lab also for mock-ups. So this isn't something we do for every custom unit, but it's something we do as clients request it. And why might you do that? If you're looking at designing a laboratory, you have a laboratory that you have concerns about space or layout with the custom unit, sometimes measurements just don't give you the big picture. You may require us to build you a mock-up in MDF. So we would do that again in the lab. You can see there on the left, we had a unit in the lab under construction. And then once we've fully assembled it and we've established it's met all the requirements, we'll then take it apart, provide you assembly instructions, and we'll ship that to your facility where you would reassemble it and establish, have we met all the requirements you're looking for? Does something need modified? You may do this because you're placing equipment inside. So if you need to put, let's say, an oven adapted to a unit, it's one thing to make a measurement and design around it, but now you have a process that has to function within the containment solution before you utilize the oven. And you want to make sure, does that process fit? Does it seem efficient? Maybe you're going to look at the ergonomics of it, or maybe it is just the size. So we can do mock-ups. You can see on the right here, we did a mock-up of an actual unit that adapted to an oven. So we built the containment solution as a mock-up. We shipped that to the client so they could establish that it met all the requirements they were looking for. And then we provided them the finished product at the top there, and they added their oven once it was on site. So sometimes we're working around equipment that you can't ship the equipment to us. And, you know, we can do a mock-up of just the equipment potentially if you are looking to put perhaps something that has to do with Carl Fisher, or you're working with some powder transfer within the unit in a piece of equipment and you would like to see if it's going to fit. We can do a mock-up of the equipment, or again, we can do a mock-up of the unit and send that to you. So this is something that will be part of the production process prior to actually constructing your custom unit. Testing is probably the key thing that we do in the lab that's probably most requested as an additional provided supplemental piece to your custom unit once it's completed. So not only are we doing certification and validation of the equipment based on the type. So if it's a negative pressure system, we're obviously going to be doing our ASHRAE 110, looking at average face velocity, doing the smoke test and tracer gas analysis. If you're ordering a glove box, we're going to be doing our ISO certification for cleanliness on that. If you've ordered one of our units that does low humidity or low oxygen, like our Nitrogenema series, we will be doing our ISO certification for pressure testing. But we also have been requested to do additional HEPA certifications, and surrogate powder, again, is one of our big things that we are doing. That'll be our new two-part section of this webinar series next month, where we'll do an in-depth look at the surrogate powder capability. So we use labs most for certification and validation, and then as requested, surrogate powder. So that is a critical part of our lab function, again, being on site. So we're not moving that equipment to another facility, having it tested, getting those results, bringing it back. All of that is done in-house before we ship that unit to your facility. During production, post-production, we will also do our PLC programming. So once the unit is finished construction on the manufacturing floor, it's going to move into the laboratory if we need to do PLC programming. So if you've custom designed a unit that has alarms or safety interlocks, again, if you're looking at one of our low humidity or low oxygen systems, we're going to have sensors that we're going to have to program for that. We're going to evaluate all the functionality and go through the debugging process. So we want to make sure that those controls are going to do exactly what they were designed to do. We're also going to be utilizing that information to make sure that your equipment manual is fully encompassing, and us being very familiar with your PLC programming. So this unit is not just upon delivery, our relationship is over. So if you do have questions about the programming, or you have a screen that you didn't see before and you need to understand what that is, we've worked through all of that in the lab with our engineering team and our lab staff so that we're very familiar, because each custom unit is going to have custom programming. So we have to become very familiar so we can support you once your unit has arrived at your facility and it's in use. So all of that, again, done in our laboratories post-production when your equipment has come off the assembly line. The other critical thing that the lab team is integrally involved in is system integration support. So once your unit is finished, we have to deliver obviously an equipment manual. So all of our custom units are going to have custom equipment manuals with a full system description, all your installation and operating instructions, any change out procedures that affect your equipment, whether it's our continuous liner, you've ordered a glove system that you need glove change out, the filtration, if you've got a bag in, bag out system, the instructions on how to do that. In addition, obviously, like any good equipment manual, we have troubleshooting, and then any spare parts you may need, like gloves, the filters, things of that nature. So the equipment manuals are written by a team, and the lab staff is actually part of that team. And again, we're looking at your custom equipment while it's in the lab after it's assembled to make sure that we've written every instruction for every aspect of that unit so it's fully functional for your process. We're also going to write your certification guidelines. So if you've requested a custom piece of equipment that's a glove box, we're going to provide you the certification guidelines for glove boxes, the specific instructions for the installation of the system, how to do all your alarm calibration and your airflow setup, and then any unique features for a positive or a negative system. So all of that is also done in the laboratory by a team post-production once the equipment is fully assembled and at the stage where it's almost ready to ship to you. Training capabilities. I said earlier, we can do a lot of training. So you're going to see here playing some of our standard training videos that we've already put out and are available depending on the type of unit you may have. This one here is our continuous liner change out process when you need to put a new liner on. So this is one of our unique designs that we've added to Flow Sciences. So this is one of those additional features that's unique to just us for waste disposal. But it's not as simple as just popping a bag on and popping a bag off. So we have operating instructions and photographic SOPs to assist you. But we also found that this particular process, seeing, is sometimes the easiest way to learn. So we have this training video. We also have done training videos for changing out the gloves on our glove boxes and our hybrid isolators. We've done cleaning change outs, filter change outs. So we have all these standard training videos, but the other thing we have available is to do training for you specifically. So during discovery, if we identify that as you, the client, you would like a video for your custom unit to look at how to do a cleaning or how to utilize the PLC programming panel, perhaps, we can provide whether it's a video training or it's an additional operating instruction with additional photographs. Maybe you want to do some live training. You want to bring some of your end users or supervisors or trainers from your facility to Leland and have us run through training with you, which you can document and then take back and deliver to your site. We've done Zoom and Teams training, especially in the last year with COVID. So we can also do that again with select individuals from your facility. So we have extensive training capabilities within our laboratories to provide you whatever you may need. Another feature is we do certifier training. So anybody that's going to be maintaining your equipment, certifying your equipment, we provide that training as well. And that can be in, again, any form, whether it's documentation in an additional SOP, it's, photographs, it's a video like you're seeing here, or it's a live training, whether it's on site or via Zoom or Skype. We have the ability to do all of that from a training standpoint. So again, not just delivering a unit to you, but delivering every feature that will help you utilize your unit and be successful. So all of those things, all of that support that we have by having these laboratories on site in Leland is allowing us to provide this partnership with you. So we at Flow Sciences are always delivering containment solutions to solve your containment needs. But we're also delivering to you a partner in that solution beyond delivery to your site. So again, whether it is support for that unit long-term, term, or you need support because your process has changed. Whether you have a unit already in place, let's say you have a glove box and you have to utilize a new process in that lab. You're trying to see if that process will work in the equipment you already have purchased from us. We're here, the lab staff is here to support you in that evaluation and help you with that. Whether we may need to do some type of customization, conversion, or a modification to it, we can help you evaluate, is that possible? Or maybe you just have had success with your previous purchase and you have a new process. The industry is constantly changing. Containment needs increase because the API potency continues to become more concerning as drugs go through development, and you need a new containment solution. We're here to support that and grow with you and develop with you. So you as customers are driving us to be in line with the industry and deliver containment solutions that are going to be successful for you. And that continues, again, beyond the delivery of your original purchase with us. You're going to have a relationship with us for the life of your use of our products and additional uses that you haven't even thought of yet. So that concludes our Laboratory Talks Part 1 session. So I am going to open the chat box here and see if there's any questions in just a second, but I do want to touch on what's coming up. So we are going to have our second Laboratory Talks on August 19th. So keep an eye on our website and your email for that link to sign up. We're going to do an in-depth look at surrogate powder studies, not just what we can do, but why would you do a surrogate powder study? What is the importance of that? Why would that be something you want to consider for your equipment? So we're going to take an in-depth look of how we can do that, who our affiliates may be that could help us with that. We have a lot of partners in the industry. So we're going to have some really great information for you next month. So I encourage you to sign up for that. And now we're going to look and see if we have any questions. So I have that open. I do have a question here. The question is, do you allow people to tour your facility and just see the labs? Absolutely, we're an open book. So obviously COVID is still happening, but we have COVID protocols in place. So if you do want to come down and see the facility, even if you haven't ordered anything yet, feel free to reach out to us. We would love to, provide that opportunity for you. If you have a containment need, we do, obviously, I said multiple times today, if you need to come on site during any part of that process, whether it's during production, it's post-production, us being all in one location and all of the resources that are used to provide you with that containment solution are in one place, we absolutely do allow our clients and potential clients to be on our facility site and see those that production process. So that was the one question we had today. Is there any other questions? Like I said earlier, we are going to be sending out a survey later today. So if you do think of something you want to ask, feel free to utilize that. You can also contact us at our website, fill out a contact form with a containment need or a question, or you can call our help desk anytime. Robin will be more than happy to handle that for you and answer your questions or get you to the right person on our team. I want to thank everybody for your time today. I really appreciate you joining us and learning about what we can do to help you with your containment needs and your containment challenges. And I look forward to seeing you at future webinars. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much.